This trailer hits differently from the very first second. There is no loud hero music pushing hope into the scene. The colors are cold, the skies are broken, and every shot feels heavy, like the world already knows what is coming. Marvel is not asking us to cheer this time. It is asking us to prepare. The title Doomsday is not used as hype. It is used as a warning. This is not about saving one city or stopping one enemy. This is about the end of systems, timelines, and ideas that once held the Avengers together. Even the way the camera moves feels slow and careful, as if the story itself is afraid to move too fast and fall apart. What makes this trailer shocking is how quiet it feels. Big moments happen without explosions. Faces speak more than action. Loki stands still, watching the damage like he has already seen it happen before. Deadpool talks, but his voice does not feel playful. His jokes land differently, like he is hiding fear behind humor because he understands something the others do not. This silence tells us something important. The Avengers are not charging into battle. They are standing in the ruins, trying to understand how everything went wrong so fast. That alone tells us this story is not built around heroines, but around consequences. The trailer also feels like a goodbye without saying it out loud. Familiar images appear for just a moment, then fade away. A broken symbol here, an empty space there. Nothing is held on screen for too long. Like the movie is reminding us that nothing lasts forever, not even legends. The Avengers once felt unstoppable because they trusted the future. In this trailer, the future feels blocked, dark, and unclear. No one talks about tomorrow. Everyone is focused on surviving the next moment. Another powerful shift is how the trailer treats power. Strength no longer looks impressive. Magic, weapons, and tech all feel small compared to the scale of what is breaking. This is the first time the Avengers feel truly human again, not because they are weak, but because they finally understand their limits. Doomsday is not shown as a villain walking toward them. It is shown as an event already in motion. The world is not waiting to be saved. It is already falling by the end of this section. The message becomes clear. Avengers, Doomsday is not asking who will win. It is asking who will remain. This trailer sets the tone for a story about loss, fear, and hard choices. It tells us that the age of easy endings is over. Whatever comes next will cost something real, and not everyone will make it through. This is not the beginning of hope. This is the beginning of the end. Loki's presence in this trailer feels heavier than ever before. He is not running, not joking, not trying to escape the moment. He stands still, calm in a way that feels unsettling, like someone who already knows how the story ends. This version of Loki does not look surprised by the destruction around him. Instead, he looks responsible for understanding it. His eyes do not search for enemies. They search for meaning. That alone tells us this is not the Loki who wanted a throne or applause. This is a Loki who has seen too much and carries the weight of every choice he has ever made. What makes Loki dangerous in Avengers? Doomsday is not his magic, but his knowledge. After everything he has lived through with time, timelines, and broken futures, Loki is no longer reacting to chaos. He expects it. Every pause in his movement suggests he is calculating outcomes instead of fighting emotions. When he looks at the ruined world, there is no shock, only sadness mixed with acceptance. This version of Loki feels like someone who has tried to fix things before and failed. That failure has changed him. He no longer believes there is a clean solution. The trailer frames Loki like a watcher rather than a warrior. He is often placed above others, standing apart, or watching from a distance. This visual choice matters. It suggests that Loki is no longer meant to stand shoulder to shoulder with the Avengers. He exists on a different level now. Not better, not worse, just painfully aware. He understands that saving one timeline may destroy another. He understands that every heroic act has a hidden cost. That awareness turns him into something more dangerous than a villain or a hero. It turns him into a judge of outcomes. There is also a quiet fear surrounding Loki's role. Not fear of him, but fear for him. The trailer hints that Loki may be carrying responsibility alone, choosing not to share the full truth with others. This kind of burden isolates him. It explains why his face feels tired, why his presence feels lonely. He may believe that if the others knew what he knows, they would lose hope completely. So he stays silent, carrying the weight of Doomsday on his own shoulders. Another important detail is how Loki reacts to Deadpool. Unlike others who seem confused or annoyed, Loki does not dismiss him. There is a brief sense of recognition, as if Loki understands that Deadpool's chaos hides awareness. Loki sees him not as a joke, but as a problem that cannot be ignored. That interaction suggests Loki knows Deadpool's role is bigger than it appears. When two characters who understand broken stories meet, the results are never simple. This section of the story positions Loki as the emotional center of Avengers, Doomsday. He is no longer the spark of chaos, but the keeper of truth. The tragedy is that knowing the truth does not mean you can stop it. Loki may be trying to delay the inevitable, reshape the damage, or guide the fall in a way that saves something, even if it cannot save everything. That is what makes his role heartbreaking. He is not fighting to win. He is fighting to lessen the loss. Deadpool's entrance into Avengers, Doomsday, does not feel like a joke. And that is exactly what makes it disturbing. He still talks fast. He still breaks the mood. But the energy behind his words feels different. This time, his humor sounds forced, like someone laughing too loud in a room where everyone knows something terrible is about to happen. Deadpool has always used jokes as armor, but in this trailer, that armor looks cracked. The way he moves, the way he looks around, it feels like he knows he has stepped into a story that does not play by his usual rules. What makes Deadpool truly dangerous here is not his healing or his weapons. It is his awareness. Deadpool understands stories. He understands when a moment is important, when a line should not be crossed, and when a world is close to breaking. In Avengers, Doomsday, that awareness turns into fear. Not panic, not screaming, fear, but a quiet fear that sits behind his jokes. He knows this is not a clean crossover. This is not a fun team-up. This is a collision of universes that were never meant to survive together for long. The trailer places Deadpool in moments of destruction instead of comedy setups. He is seen walking through damage, not reacting with excitement, but with hesitation. His jokes feel shorter, sharper, almost rushed, as if he is trying to distract himself from thinking too hard. Deadpool usually treats danger like a game. Here, danger feels final. The stakes are too big even for him to laugh off completely. That shift alone tells us Marvel is using Deadpool differently this time. There is also something uncomfortable about how Deadpool fits into the Avengers world. He does not blend in. He sticks out in every frame, not because he is colorful, but because he feels like an outsider who understands the rules better than the players. He watches the Avengers like a fan who suddenly realizes the heroes can lose. That perspective gives him power. He is not tied to legacy, duty, or honor. He sees outcomes instead of ideals, and that makes him unpredictable. Deadpool's interaction with Loki hints at something deeper. Loki carries knowledge of time. Deadpool carries knowledge of narrative. Both understand that this story is heading somewhere dark. Their presence together suggests that Doomsday is not just about destruction, but about awareness of destruction. Deadpool knows that jokes will not save this universe. He knows that even if he survives, survival might not mean victory. That realization strips away some of his usual confidence. This section positions Deadpool as the voice of uncomfortable truth. He says things others are afraid to think. He jokes about endings because he knows endings are coming. In Avengers, Doomsday, Deadpool is not here to lighten the mood. He is here to remind us that when even the clown sounds worried, the situation is already worse than anyone wants to admit. Robert Downey Jr.'s presence in Avengers, Doomsday feels like a memory that refuses to stay buried. The trailer never clearly explains who he is or why he is there. And that silence is what makes his return so powerful. The moment his face appears, the tone shifts. It does not feel like a comeback. It feels like a reckoning. His expression is not heroic or confident. It is calm, tired, and heavy with meaning, as if this character carries years of regret that cannot be erased by another suit or another fight. What makes this return hit so hard is how carefully it is handled. There is no big reveal, no drama. I see music pushing the audience to cheer. Instead, the camera lingers just long enough to let the emotion settle. His eyes say more than any dialogue could. This is not a man stepping back into glory. This is someone stepping back into a story he thought was finished. The trailer frames him like a ghost from a past life, reminding everyone that the biggest question is not who he is playing, but what he represents. He could be a variant, a memory, or something created by the collapse of timelines. But more than that, he represents legacy. He represents the cost of being the first, the weight of decisions that shaped everything that came after. In Avengers, Doomsday, legacy does not feel proud. It feels heavy. It feels like a burden passed down to characters who are already struggling to hold the world together. There is also something deeply uncomfortable about how other characters react to him. Some look confused, others look cautious, and a few look emotional, like they are seeing someone they lost but never truly moved on from. This reaction tells us that his presence is not meant to inspire hope. It is meant to force reflection. It reminds the Avengers of who they were, what they promised to protect, and how far things have fallen since then. The trailer suggests that this character knows something important, something others may not be ready to hear. He speaks slowly, carefully, as if every word carries consequences. When he looks at the destruction around him, there is no shock. There is recognition. This feels like someone who warned others once and was ignored. Now he stands among the ruins, not to say "I told you so," but to ask whether anyone is finally ready to listen. This section of the story turns Robert Downey Jr.'s return into an emotional anchor. It is not about saving the day. It is about facing the truth that even the greatest heroes cannot outrun the results of their choices. In Avengers, Doomsday, his presence does not promise a solution. It reminds us that some damage cannot be undone, only understood. Pedro Pascal's character in Avengers, Doomsday feels like the most uncertain piece on the board, and that uncertainty is exactly what makes him dangerous. The trailer never fully explains who he is, but it places him in moments that matter. He is not shown reacting in panic or fear. Instead, he watches, listens, and waits. That calm is not comforting. It suggests someone who understands how bad things are, but has not yet decided which side of the collapse he belongs to. In a story about endings, a character who has not chosen a direction yet can change everything. What stands out most is how often Pedro Pascal's character is positioned between others. He is placed between Loki and Deadpool, between damaged worlds and desperate heroes, between choices that all seem wrong. This visual language matters. It tells us this character is not just another fighter added to the team. He is a connector, a bridge, or possibly a trigger. The trailer treats him like a human question mark. Every look he gives feels like he is measuring the cost of getting involved at all. There is a strong sense that this character understands sacrifice better than most. His face carries quiet pain, the kind that comes from losing something long before the story begins. When he speaks, his words are careful, almost restrained, like he knows that saying too much could push events in the wrong direction. This is not someone chasing glory or revenge. This is someone who knows how fragile the situation is and how easily one decision can destroy what little remains. The trailer hints that Pedro Pascal's character may represent the human cost of Avengers level events. While gods, soldiers, and legends argue over timelines, he feels grounded, real, and painfully aware of what gets left behind. He looks at the destruction not as a puzzle to solve, but as lives already ruined. That perspective puts him at odds with characters who still believe in big solutions. He does not talk about winning. He talks about what survives after the fight is over. There is also a quiet tension around trust. Other characters do not fully trust him, and he does not fully trust them either. That distance creates unease. Is he hiding information? Is he protecting someone else? Or is he trying to decide whether the Avengers deserve saving at all? The trailer never answers these questions, but it makes sure we feel their weight. Every pause, every silent look adds to the feeling that his loyalty is not guaranteed. In Avengers, Doomsday, Pedro Pascal's role feels less like a savior and more like a test. He represents the moment where ideals meet reality. If the Avengers choose power over people, they lose him. If they choose sacrifice without understanding the cost, they lose him. His presence forces the story to slow down and ask what saving the universe actually means, and in a world already falling apart. That question may be the most dangerous one of all. Doomsday in the story is not a single enemy walking toward the Avengers. It is not a face, a name, or a final boss waiting for a big fight. Doomsday feels like something that has already started long before the trailer begins. The damage we see is not fresh. Cities are already broken, skies already torn, and the world already looks tired. This tells us that Doomsday is an event, not a battle. It is the result of too many timelines pulling against each other until reality can no longer hold its shape. What makes this idea terrifying is that there is nothing clear to stop. You cannot punch Doomsday. You cannot lock it away. It spreads quietly through choices, through time jumps, through attempts to fix the past that only make the future weaker. Every time someone tries to save one world, another one pays the price. The trailer shows this without explaining it directly. We see cracks instead of explosions, silence instead of screams. It feels slow, heavy, and unstoppable, like gravity finally winning. The Avengers are used to fighting threats they can see. Aliens arrive, villains rise. Battles are fought, and something is restored. Doomsday breaks that pattern. Here, the threat is imbalance. Too many versions of reality exist at the same time, and they are collapsing into each other. The trailer suggests that the Avengers themselves may be part of the problem. Every victory they achieved by bending time, changing fate, or rewriting outcomes added stress to the universe. Now the universe is pushing back. Another important detail is how small the heroes look against the scale of destruction. There are no wide shots of armies charging together. Instead, we see individuals standing in empty spaces, surrounded by loss. This visual choice reinforces the idea that teamwork alone will not solve this. Doomsday does not care about courage or sacrifice. It is not impressed by power. It responds only to balance. And balance may require choices no one wants to make. The trailer also hints that stopping Doomsday may mean letting something go forever. Not a city, not a villain, but entire versions of people and worlds. That is why the Avengers hesitate. This is not about saving everyone. This is about deciding who gets to exist at all. That kind of choice changes heroes into judges, and not everyone is ready to carry that responsibility. Doomsday feels like the moment when the universe demands payment for every shortcut taken in the past. Time travel, multiverse jumps, and rewritten. Deaths all come with a cost. The trailer suggests that cost is now due. The Avengers are not racing toward victory. They are standing at the edge of consequences. And for the first time, even they are not sure if saving the world is the right move, or if it is already too late. Section 7 focuses on the quiet details that the trailer hides in plain sight. The kind that only matter once you understand how close everything is to breaking. Nothing in these shots feels random. Symbols appear for seconds and disappear before the eye can fully lock onto them. Broken logos, reversed colors, reflections that do not match the characters standing in front of them. These are not simple Easter eggs meant for fun. They are warnings. Each one hints that reality itself is misaligned, like the universe is no longer sure which version of itself it is supposed to be. One of the most unsettling elements is how often mirrors and reflections appear. Characters look into shattered glass, metallic surfaces, or dark water. And what looks back does not always feel stable. Sometimes the reflection lingers a moment, longer than it should. Sometimes it looks slightly different. This suggests that variants are not gone, not separated, but overlapping. The line between one version and another is thinning. Identity itself is becoming unstable. And the trailer uses these visual tricks to tell that story without a single word. Color also plays a huge role. Scenes tied to hope or past victories are washed out, almost drained of life. Scenes tied to Doomsday glow with unnatural tones, deep reds, sick blues, and dull golds. These shifts are not just style choices. They mark timelines rubbing against each other. When colors clash within the same frame, it suggests to realities trying to exist in the same space. That is not something the universe can survive for long. There are also background details that feel intentionally unfinished. Buildings that look half real, half faded. Skies that seem frozen in motion. Fires that burn without smoke. These details suggest worlds that are not fully alive anymore. Places caught between existing and being erased. The trailer never explains this, but it shows it repeatedly. Once you notice it, you cannot unsee it. These are not battle scars. They are symptoms of collapse. Dialogue pauses matter just as much as visuals. Characters stop mid-sentence, hesitate, before answering, or look away instead of responding. These gaps feel intentional. It is as if some truths cannot be spoken out loud without making things worse. Silence becomes a form of protection. When characters refuse to explain what they know, it suggests that knowledge itself is dangerous. Saying the wrong thing at the wrong time might speed up the end. The most important hidden clue is how little the past